Welcome. Hi. So today I've got a really special guest for you. Today I am welcoming Lucy Griffin-Stiff, and she is a messaging expert and a communication specialist. And so she is going to talk to us today about the work that she does with business owners and entrepreneurs who want to become the obvious choice for their clients. And so you might be great at what you do, but you might not be really clear on your messaging, or you might be really not great at concocting stories and really helping people understand what you do. So Lucy is going to help you find the messages and the hidden stories and the strategies that are going to make you the ideal choice for your clients. So we're going to have a little dig into her entrepreneurial journey, and then she's going to give us a little bit of a sneak peek into her new program as well, and give us some great tips on what we can do to make our messaging stronger. So I'm going to bring Lucy on. So here we go. I'm just inviting using Facebook's native interview technique. So hang on, Lucy, hopefully you got that. Here she comes. Hi, Lucy.
Ah,
We made it work. Welcome.
it's working, sort of.
Yeah. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate you being in the group with us today, because I know you've got lots and lots of wisdom to share. But I love kind of hearing the story behind people, how people ended up doing what they're doing, and why they're so passionate about helping other entrepreneurs. So it would be great to get a little bit of a feel from you about how you got started with Starting Conversations, which is your business, and why you are so passionate about bringing this from corporates, because I know that you were originally in a corporate environment, but why you're passionate about helping small business owners with messaging and communication generally.
Yeah, cool. So thank you for having me. And I just want to firstly say, don't worry about where my eyes are looking, everybody. I seem to have a problem with phone cameras in that I just can't help but look at the person on the screen and actually not into the little thing down at the bottom of my phone there. And it puts me off, so I hope it doesn't put you off. But anyway, so yes, thanks, Vicky. And yeah, so I did used to work in corporate as a brand and communication strategist. And I'm one of these typical people who's had the big corporate career and then had a baby, and was like, I can't go back to doing that. I'm never going to see my baby from day till night. I used to commute to Canary Wharf, which was 2.5 hours each way from where I lived, and I did that when I was pregnant. So it kind of made me think, I don't want to do that actually when I've actually got the baby. So I used to work with big brands like Visa and Barclays and EDF Energy and London Underground and lots of big companies. But when I realized I wasn't going to be able to go back to that, because I wanted to set something up that would work for family life, basically, I just prioritized flexibility and family over career, really. And thought, well, I'll just, I've got stuff to share. I know stuff. I'll just set it up on my own, and I'll just do it on my own. And I originally started supporting more of the corporate side because that's what I knew and that's where my contacts were. But I was still having to really get immersed in all the online business and online entrepreneurship and whatever. And also, actually, I haven't mentioned, but I started a blog when I was on maternity leave, and it was called bottlefor2.com. Because I was it was all about the baby bottles and the wine bottles for me, because I felt like I needed to have a drink to get through it some days.
I didn't know
tough,
that.
isn't it,
That's
with
a
a new
hidden
baby.
gem that you'd never shared with me.
Yeah, and that's kind of what really got me immersed in online stuff, and really learning social media and Facebook groups, and really getting into all that stuff, because I wasn't so involved in all of that before. And I built, I didn't know how to build a website, but I just built this blog from nothing, and I was really proud of myself, and I was like, oh, look what I can do. And that made me realize after a while, well, I was blogging for my sanity, really, because it was really lonely at home alone after having, had a big job, surrounded by people all the time, and I was all alone at home with the baby. And so I joined the blogging community, and so it taught me how to do all that stuff. And I thought, do you know what, I actually could run an online business, because if I can build this website and I can build a community and I know how to do social media, and and I just taught it all, all that part of it myself, I'll set up an online business sharing what I know. And so I set up originally Leading Conversations, which is my limited company, and was helping more on the corporate side with the stuff that people were used to me me helping with. And then more and more I would see business owners in groups that I was in and entrepreneurs online who would have a business but would be really rubbish at talking about it, and or they'd have a website and you just wouldn't get what they do from it. And I just saw people really struggling with messaging, and I thought, well, I can help people with that, because I've been doing communications for 20 years. And messaging is something I've just had to do lots of, and also building brands and helping people engage with brands and understanding that, and finding people's values and unique selling points and all that kind of stuff. And I thought, well, people really need this sort of support. So then I set up starting conversations, which is what I pretty much focused my whole time on now. And starting conversations, is essentially helping people become the obvious choice to their ideal clients through using messaging.
And that's
and building up that brand, a really authentic brand with an authentic message that people can be really confident talking about. Because once you've got that clarity, the clarity on the message, the clarity on what you're all about, your offer, why people should work with you, it gives you so much more confidence to get out there and talk about it.
Yeah, and that's so true. And so many people really struggle with this. And lots of people struggle, even with something like an elevator pitch, which is just a condensed idea and introduction to what it is that they do in a way that people are going to be able to understand. And so, I love your idea.
In fact, I have an elevator pitch freebie if anybody wants it. I can give you the link at the end.
Yeah, I'm sure lots of people would find that really valuable. That would be great if you could share that with us. Thank you. But I'm really interested in your concept of brand before logo, because lots and lots of people kind of they like the idea of the visual stuff's exciting, right? They get to choose colors and fonts, and they get to look at little kind of visual icons and things. But a lot of people forget or actually don't know that their logo is a kind of visual impression of their entire brand, which is all about values and ethos and everything else. So I'd love to hear a little bit of what you think about that, and why people should be looking at developing their brand before they hop into the visual side and engage with a graphic designer.
Yeah, well, as far as I'm concerned, and I would say this, wouldn't I? All the stuff that I help people with, it informs the style and the look and feel and the logo, because once you really understand your brand and you understand your audience and you understand your offer, and you understand who you're trying to appeal to and what you're all about, all of that stuff that you figure out beforehand then helps inform how you want to visually communicate it. Because once you know how you're actually going to communicate it, and what you stand for and believe in and all that kind of stuff, and your audience and all this stuff I've said, it just informs it. So it actually gives you a clearer brief for a designer, and it gives you obviously a much clearer brief for a website, because like you said, what people do is they go, oh, set up a business, right, I need a logo and a website. And then they sort of cobble together some kind of logo, sometimes themselves on one of those logo generators, and then they think, oh yeah, that's probably a bit shit actually, isn't it? So I probably need to pay someone to do that. So then they think, all right, I'll do that, and then I need a website, right, so how do I do that?
Yeah.
And then what they'll do is they'll either try and build a website, or they'll ask someone to help them build one, and then they'll get asked for content, and then they'll go, I don't know what to say.
It's so true, and this is what I see so many people struggling with. And in fact, I was talking to people about it last week, about the reason that people fall out of love with their website and their marketing generally is because it often isn't a true representation of themselves and their offerings and what it is that they do. And that's because they haven't gone through this process of understanding what their messaging is and what their brand values are and who they're speaking to before they launched into the really great stuff of their logo and their website. So what I
that's right, because
what I used to find was with startups, they would hop straight into that, and then 6 months down the line, everything had changed and evolved, and including their entire offering, and they had to start again from scratch and invite someone else to do a logo for them, or go back to their logo generator and do another rubbish job. But so okay, I think people are becoming clearer that all of this feeds into their marketing, and all of it feeds in, and it's a kind of foundational stone and a cornerstone that they need to put in place. So do you have any tips on how people should best go about this, or things that they should look out for, pitfalls they can fall into or should be avoiding. Do you have any words of wisdom for anyone who's like setting out on this journey right now?
Well, I'm not sure which words of wisdom to share. So the thing is with your message is it can transform you from just another coach or consultant to the obvious choice.
Yes, I love that. Yeah.
And so, really working out all about understanding you and understanding your brand and understanding your business offer and understanding the people you want to appeal to. All of that combined then helps you create your message, and you have to mix in, as I often say, a little bit of special sauce into your ingredients, into your brand ingredients, which is essentially your USP. And just working through all of that stuff as to how am I different, what is it about the way I do things, or what is it about me that makes me different, that makes people want to choose me. So it's asking yourself these sorts of questions, and that's what I do in my Messaging Made Easy program. Is I have a whole set of questions through all the different ingredients that I have a formula basically that you put together, and it helps you create your messaging. And it asks you all those questions, the real sort of deep dive questions that really get you thinking, and then it brings out that emerging messaging, and it also helps you get real clarity on what really are you offering and who are you offering it to and how are you differentiating yourself. Because let's face it, now in the online world there are a ton of coaches and consultants, so it's how are you going to bring out yourself within that, because you yourself are a differentiator.
Yes.
You yourself can only really speak authentically about your business, so it's bringing you into your brand. A lot of the time when I'm working with coaches and consultants in particular, because they've got to be able to sell themselves, but they've also got to be able to pull on all of that stuff. They've got to sort of find all that those hidden stories from within that can really connect with their audience.
Yeah. And so once they've gone through that process, I'm just interested as to how you would recommend that someone goes through that branding process. So you would recommend that they go through something like those series of questions that you pose within your Messaging Made Easy program. And at what point do they then engage with the graphic designer? Because that's what everyone's itching to do, right? You're kind of holding back the reins on, letting the horse gallop forward to everybody is like, okay, I need a graphic designer, who should I speak to? But actually they haven't gone through this process first. So how do you recommend that people who are just starting out, they don't have a logo, they haven't gone through a branding process, what are the steps that they should be taking?
So, well, I would say what they want to do is go through my Messaging Made Easy program with me. And I do that. I have a 3-week one or a 6-week one. And it depends on how much help you think you need and how clear you are as to whether really you need the sort of the start with support or the VIP option. And I really would wait until we've concluded that. So till we have gone through that process of you completely understanding your brand and then building that message that can transform the marketing, because you will have figured out your USP, you'll have your core message, you'll have stuff, what you want to say on your about page, you'll have your elevator pitch, you'll have your tagline, you will completely understand who your audience is, which is really important, because you need to make sure that your brand, whether visually or non-visually, is speaking to those people. And so once you really have got to grips with all of that, you'll be able to offer such a clear brief to a designer or a website designer, because you know that stuff. And I speak to quite a few web designers in my Facebook group that that you're in, and they all they all say they struggle with people coming to them wanting a website but not knowing really who it's for or what they want to put on it. And so it just makes sense. But even if you've already started your business and you've been running it for a little while, your brand messaging often needs refreshing, because like you said earlier, businesses evolve, and maybe you started off with one offer but then you realize that actually something else was really taking off, or that actually you had 5 things to begin with but actually you just really want to focus on one now. As businesses develop, they need to, I think you should just keep taking a look at your messaging and check that it's still relevant, that it's still speaking to people in the way you want it to, that you're still happy with it, it still sounds like you, because you evolve as well as your business. So some of the things you might have been saying a year or two ago, you might cringe at now
Yeah.
and think, well, actually, no, I'd rather say that a different way now. And actually, my business has moved on a step further. So it's worth, even if you've already got your website and already got your business, having a look at it, a sort of a review and refresh of your brand, because it really can make a difference.
I can hold up my hand and say my messaging has changed so much in the last, probably even in the last 18 months. And I haven't formally been through that kind of messaging process, but I've really had to look deeply into my own, tone of voice and who I'm speaking to. So I'm really excited because members of my WordPress Success Bootcamp who are creating their website are going to have exclusive access to some of Lucy's Messaging Made Easy modules so that they can really help put that messaging in place to start getting really, really clear on their messaging. So do you want to tell us a little bit more about your Messaging Made Easy? So you've got the 3-week program and you've got the 6-week program. And
and actually the stuff that I am doing as your bonus module is sort of the brand before logo masterclass type stuff. So, and that is based on my Messaging Made Easy program. So I've created a masterclass now, which is kind of like the highlights of the stuff that I go through on the one-to-one Messaging Made Easy program, and it takes you through all, it gives you the formula, it gives you a lot of the suggested questions, it helps you really understand messaging and the importance of it, and so you've got stuff in there that once you've thought about it and worked through it, it really will help you start to clarify your message. So it won't have me there actually, physically helping you do it, which is what I do on the one-to-one program. But it's still got all of that all those really good ingredients and all the good questions and all the things you need to start thinking about. Things like, you've got to think about emotional and practical benefits. So, don't just tell people features, tell people about the benefits, and don't just tell them the practical benefits, but actually how is it going to make them feel? Because it's the emotional part of the brain that does the decision making, and people often forget that. And when people are naturally putting together content, because you're writing it down, I think it's that logical part of your brain that just seems to always think, well, I'll write the practical logical things down, You forget to think about, hang on a minute, let me put myself in the shoes of my customers. What is their pain point? What is the problem I'm solving for them? How is it going to make them feel? What's the transformation they're going to experience through working with me? So it's all of that stuff. You've definitely got to get the emotional part in there too, because really that's what makes somebody buy at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Brenda's getting very active on the comments and she's saying, yes.
Oh, yes.
You need to build in evaluation into your system. Great comments, Brenda. Thank you. So, okay, well, that's fabulous. Do you have anything else that you want to add that you feel is like really super critical for people to know and to take on board in terms of their messaging, or even like, okay, I'm putting you on the spot, like a super quick fix that someone could go and have a look at the flyers that they've created or the website, their homepage on their website, and have a look at it in a context, having heard you speaking today, and do something that's going to quickly turn it around for them.
So I would look, if it's no pressure. Okay, so there's a couple of things. If you're looking at your website, can somebody see within the first, I think it's 6 seconds that people say, I sort of say 5 to 10, depending on, how impatient somebody is. But can you see within the first 6 seconds what is the problem you're solving and who it's for? Can somebody pretty much get that straight away? So you need some kind of core message or statement that just makes it clear when somebody lands there that this is for them. And I would just check that, because if I have this little story that I tell, which is how much time have we got?
Well, no, it's great.
I was going to say we've got 2 minutes for a story.
No, it's perfect. 2 minutes for a story would be perfect.
Okay, so there's this little story that I tell, and if you read my blog, you'll have heard it. But essentially, so imagine that you are at a networking event, or you're just in a room that's absolutely full of all your ideal customers. They're all there, and there's 3 people in the room that are standing out here. There's somebody in a black and gold jacket. There is somebody in a navy suit with a lovely little necktie, and then there's a lady in a coral top. And they really stand out. And they've all got these flags waving in the air. And there's all these, everybody's starting to congregate as who they want to speak to. And people are congregating towards the lady in the coral top. So when you get a bit closer to the black and gold person, you look at their flag, and actually, they look quite nice and approachable, but there's nothing on the flag. It's just a pretty colour. It's just nothing on it. So then they go and they look at the lady in the navy, and she has got everything on her flag written in Greek, and it just is a language that these people do not understand. And then the lady with the coral flag says, I can solve your problems and make you feel fabulous. And so that's why everybody is congregating towards coral. And black and gold does not like this. So black and gold decides that he is going to pay for a system within the room to funnel all these people to black and gold. He's going to pay £1,000, like with Google adverts, to bring people all past his website or his flag before they can get to anybody else. But the thing is, even though they're all funneled that way and they go and look at black and gold, he's not saying anything that's resonating with them. So they're still all going back to coral, because coral is the only person who is saying, I can solve your problems and make you feel fabulous. So be like coral. This is my story.
That is such a great analogy. And I remember reading that blog post a couple of months ago, and I remember looking at it thinking, that is such a great way of looking at it, because it's so true. People get totally blind to stuff. They can land on a page, and if they don't understand what it's saying, they just are going to hit the back browser and head away.
It's like waving a flag in the air with nothing on it.
Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you. On that note, thank you so much, Lucy. So can you tell us where we can find out more about you and where we can find you online?
Yes. So my website is startingconversations.co.uk. And you can find me there. And I have a Facebook group, the Business Owners Conversation Club, and you can always find me in there.
Which is fabulous.
And all my links should be on. Yes. So that's probably the best two places to go. And if you want my elevator pitch freebie, it's just startingconversations.co.uk/elevator-pitch. And we can put the link.
Yeah, brilliant. Let's put the link in the group, because I think people will really enjoy going and having a look at that. And fabulous. Thank you so much for spending some time.
Thanks, Vicky.
Really appreciate it.
And thank you for doing your expert day in my group yesterday.
Yeah,
That's brilliant.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's a little bit of reciprocation going on.
I know. It's a bit of a swapsy, an unplanned swapsy.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you so much. That was fabulous. Bye for now, Lucy.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye.